Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create cute little bulb earrings from polymer clay. And the process is really quite easy and comes out with some really nice results. So first thing you're going to want to do is choose your colours, and I'm using Primo today, and these will all run out on the middle setting of my pasta machine, or 1mm thick. And the colours that I am using are magenta pearl, white and 18 karat gold. You can use any colours you want. I would recommend either using white or translucent, but the colours you can pick whatever you want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the white into 3 sections, 1 and 2. And I am going to just trim the sides, and that can just go back into the white packet. And trim this. And the white is going to be the main part of the cane that I'm going to make. And so that's why I recommend having white or some kind of neutral colour. You could also swap it out for black as well, possibly ecru as well. Alright, I'm going to have white. Then I am going to lay the white onto one of the colours, that being the pearl this time around. And I am going to cut around that. And again, you can just take those colours and just use them in other projects. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to flip that around, and I'm going to place another piece of white down. Take that and trim that out, place the 18 karat gold on the top and trim that out as well, so that essentially what I end up with is a stripe cane. And just move that out the way. And there we go. That's what I have ended up with. Now I'm going to take that and I am going to cut that in half and stack it like so. And you can stack it so that the colours alternate, or so that it's a reverse. That's completely up to you, whichever one you want. Okay. Then I am going to take a ripple blade, like so, and I'm going to turn that upside down so that the blunt edge is going into the clay here. And let me move that out of the way. And if you're worried about the sharp part, you can always take a blade protector like so, and you can slot that onto the sharp part of the blade. That's always a good idea when doing this. There we go. And then that will protect your fingers. And then take that and cut through the cane like so. And what this is going to do is it's going to smudge the image. You can see there how that looks. I'm going to do the same on the other side, and this is probably going to separate it into pieces. That's fine. If you wanted to work with just the stripe cane, you can skip this step and move straight onto cutting out the slices, but I want a slightly distorted image. So I'll cut like so, then press everything back together, and then I'm going to go along the opposite way and do the same thing, cutting that like so, then taking and squishing it all back together again. Okay, flipping over, do the same on the other side. Okay, and then once you've done that and you've squished it all back together again, then you're just going to take it and you're going to start reducing it down so that it goes from a square shape into more of a rectangle shape, like so. Just stretching it out, and it doesn't need to go too far. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to taper the one end just slightly, and you could do this with just the regular straight stripes as well. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to curl that up in on itself like so. creating kind of a jelly roll, and that's what I'm going to be cutting my pieces from. Then take that and just roll it all together so that it is nice and squished together, and I'm going to reduce it down to just slightly bigger than the largest cutter that I'm going to be using. For this project you're going to want a number of different circle cutters of different sizes. I have about 4. You could use more than that, or you could use 3. I would not have less than 3 different sizes though. So I'm going to reduce that down to about the diameter of that cutter. Then I am going to cut it in half. You can see there the image that it creates, and it kind of creates a cracked, crackly effect without it actually being cracked, which is quite nice. Then I'm going to reduce this down till it is about the size of the next cutter down. Then cut it in half again, and just continue with that process until I have got all of my cutters covered. Okay, and with that done, I am going to bring over the largest one, and I want to cut out, let's see, I've got 4 cutters. Let's see, I think I want about 5 of each so that I end up with about 20 pieces for each earring. So I'm going to cut 10 slices for each size, and you want to cut them at about 1 millimeter thick. It does not need to be perfectly that, but you don't want thin slices, so if you're not sure, cut thicker than you think you need. And then yeah, cut out about 10 slices per size, and I would do that with all of them. Okay, and there we go. I've got that on a piece of paper, and I'm just going to take another piece and just give it a quick burnish, like so. And this is just to stick them down to the paper and to give everything a nice clean finish, and to even out some of the ones that are maybe a little lopsided when cut. There you go. Right, then you're going to pop that to the side, and you're going to work from it. And the reason I've got it on the paper is so that first off I can move it out of the way as I need, but also so that they don't stick to the tile, because I only want them to stick when I want them to stick. I'm going to take the first one, and sometimes the canes have little holes, so if you do see that, then you do need to give it a burnish to squish everything back together. You shouldn't need to do it with all of them, but sometimes there will be a little gap. Then you're going to take your cutter and you're going to cut, and the goal with the cane is to make it just about the same size so that you have as little waste as physically possible. Then just pick that up, and you don't need to worry too much about a little bit of distortion. You do need to tap around the edges to get rid of any fluff that the cutter may have left. And then you want to grab yourself a doming tool. In this case I'm going to be using a ball tool as my doming tool. I have 2 different sizes over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the largest one and I'm going to apply that. I'm going to use that for my 2 largest circle sizes, and then the other one I'm going to use for my 2 smaller circle sizes. I'm going to take that and I'm going to apply the cane to that, and I'm going to press it down onto the surface. It is going to distort the edges and kind of frill them out. That is the point. Just take that and press, and then give it a little smooth, because these will be a pain to sand, so we don't want to have to sand them. So just remove any fingerprints just by smoothing down, and then lift that up, and that should not be too difficult. And there we go, you got yourself a little piece. Okay, and then you're going to pop that onto a separate piece of paper, and that's what you're going to do for all of your cane slices. You're going to do all of the 2 largest sizes on the larger ball tool and the 2 smaller sizes on the smaller ball tool, and transfer them over to the piece of paper. Okay, and there we go. It took a little bit, but they're all done. Now, I'm going to pop these in the oven for about 40 minutes at Primo's recommended temperature. Now, quick thing before I put them in the oven, bake them on a piece of paper so that they don't end up with shiny spots. And also, if you don't like the cane that I made today, feel free to use any cane that you want. It does not need to be that kind of cane. Any one will work. You could even use just solid colours and maybe alternate between some different primary colours if you wanted to, so feel free to play around. This is just a general technique in design, so make it your own if you don't like any decisions that I am making. But again, 40 minutes, they should be baked, then we can drill, maybe varnish them, I'm not 100% on that, and then assemble it. Okay, and once they're out of the oven, you're pretty much ready to drill them because this is just polymer clay, so it doesn't need to be sealed. You can varnish them if you want, but I'm going to skip that and just go with the raw finish. And I'm using, terribly sorry, it's quite loud out today. I'm using a pin drill, and I'm just going to use that to drill holes in all of the pieces. And then once you've drilled all of the pieces, you're then going to choose some beads to go with it. I've chosen this kind of spring green glass crystal, and then a little gold spacer. And I also have a gold head pin, and I'm going to pop the green bead on, then the polymer clay piece, and then the gold piece. And this is the same pattern I would follow for all of them. I then also make 3 where it is just the gold and the glass bead. Then you're going to trim that to size, like so. Grab a pair of round nose pliers, grab the top, curl it around, and you don't need to worry about the loop being super tidy because we're going to be popping everything together and you're not really going to be able to see the loops in great detail, so don't stress about making everything perfect. They don't have to all be the same size. Then select a length of chain. Now I actually have made it tricky for myself today because of the chain that I've chosen, because these links are fairly close together and they're all linked in together. So this is probably the hardest chain that you could choose. If you wanted something where it was just one chain linked to the other, that would be much easier. Then I also have a ear wire, and I'm going to pop that onto the chain because I want something to hold onto while I'm working. And I would advise cutting out 2 lengths of chain the same length before starting your earrings because it's just easier to do that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece and you're going to open up that loop. And I'm going to try to stay in the camera because I actually can't see very well at this distance. And you're just going to take that and you're going to link that through one of the links, like so, and then close it back up. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start with the largest ones, like I have over here, and you're going to work your way down the length of chain from largest to smallest, and then on the very end you are going to pop on 3 of the little glass beads. Okay, and there we go. I've tried to pop them in such a way that you can see how they hang, because these earrings don't look very good when they're just lying flat on the tile, so I wanted to show you how they look. And really they're supposed to kind of look like clusters of flowers themselves, so yeah, hopefully that comes across nicely on the camera. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today's tutorial. I do hope that you enjoyed it. if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you have requests for future tutorials, that also is greatly appreciated. And if you would like to support the channel so I can continue creating videos just like this one, please do consider becoming a member. There is a join button just below this video. There also is a link to my Patreon account. Both are one and the same and are a great way to help the channel out. And also, if you like the video, please do consider dropping a like and subscribing. I do videos like this just about every single day, and I'm sure you won't want to miss a single one. Also, another thing, I can't remember if I said it or not, but you can do these in any colour you want, so don't feel like you have to do the colours that I did today. Purple would look really nice, again, as you can see, because they mostly rely on hanging. They would look really nice in translucence, so definitely consider that. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today's tutorial. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.